Just when I thought Rebel Moon was one of the most generic, bland movies Netflix has to offer, Lyft comes in and says, "Hold my beer." Lyft makes Rebel Moon look like The Godfather, and I love heist movies. Hell, the Mission Impossible franchise is literally my favorite franchise, but Lyft is without a doubt one of the worst heist movies I've seen in a while, and I'm actually struggling to think of a worst heist movie. And I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather watch something like Hurricane Heist than this. That's because Lyft is a flaming dumpster fire, and that's a damn shame because I like Kevin Hart and F. Gary Gray. Kevin Hart plays Cyrus, the leader of a band of thieves who steal art from those who don't deserve it. And they couldn't just be thieves, they had to be thieves with a heart of gold, I guess. After successfully lifting an NFT from a famous artist, the government hires Cyrus to steal $500 million worth of gold from Leon the Professional. The catch is, the gold is traveling via plane and they must execute the heist mid-flight. And so that's the hook. A heist that happens in the air. Sounds like a fun idea, right? Well, it is a fun idea, but it's executed poorly in Lyft. I think the biggest problem I have with Lyft, and trust me, there are many problems, is that I hated the tone and feel of this movie. I don't even know what they were going for with this tone, or even who the target audience is for this movie. And I can actually forgive a film's shortcomings if I can at least vibe with the film's tone. Take A Cure for Wellness as an example. That movie isn't perfect, but I still enjoy it because I dig the tone and vibe of the film. Lyft has the opposite effect. I found this movie to be annoying, immature, tonally inconsistent, and just plain bad. The best way I could describe the tone of this movie is that it felt like I was watching a show made for like TNT or something. Shows like Burn Notice, or Leverage, or Hawaii Five-0. Hell, even the lighting and the look of Lyft feels like one of those types of shows. It's like I had to pinch myself to make sure I wasn't watching a Fox procedural. If you're someone who loves those type of shows, then you might have a better time with this film than me. But for me, I found the dialogue to be laughable, most of the characters are unbelievable as human beings, and the action is subpar. The movie wants to be a comedy, but also a serious drama, kind of. Again, I don't really know what they were going for, nor could I tell you who this movie is for. If it's aimed at people who love comedies, then that sucks, because this movie isn't funny. If this movie is for action junkies, then that also sucks, because the action here is bland. It's hard to tell what the goal was here, because it certainly was intended to be aimed at someone, and yet it ended up being a film for no one. The acting and the characters are another problem this film has. I wish I could sit here today and say that Kevin Hart finally found the role of his career, but unfortunately today is not that day. I love Kevin Hart. I think he's a very charismatic comedic actor, but he's completely giving a paycheck performance here. There is nothing difficult or challenging about his role. He's fine with what he's given, I suppose, but I just wish there was more depth to Cyrus, or more depth for anyone for that matter. Every character in this movie is laughably underdeveloped. You don't know who a single person is. All you know them by is their caricatures. You don't know Magnus, and yes, I had to look his name up. You just know him as the safecracker. You don't know Mi-sun. Yes, I had to look her name up. You just know her as the hacker. And you get my point here. These characters are forgettable, and it's a damn shame. Not to mention some of these characters are acting like they're from a different movie. Vincent D'Onofrio seems like he stumbled onto the set of Lyft from a completely different movie set and just rolled with it. I love D'Onofrio, but what in God's green earth is he doing in this movie? And I felt the same way about Billy Magnussen. His performance was so ridiculous that it felt like it belonged in a different movie. And poor Billy, for most of the movie he's reduced to screaming lines like, "Sick! I love that!"
Nice.
At least the guy got a paycheck. Not to beat a dead horse here again, but Gugu Robb plays Abby, who gives a performance that is meant for a completely different movie. Everyone around her is acting like a cartoon character, and she is really the only one giving a serious, honest-to-God performance. And Jean Reno, the guy is in the movie for about a total of 5 minutes, and he basically sleepwalks through the whole thing. Jean Reno is the man, and I wish he was giving something better here. Perhaps the biggest sin this movie commits is that the heist sequence isn't really all that entertaining. And I mean, come on, guys. You have one job for a heist movie, making the heist exciting. I will admit, for about 5 minutes of the heist, I was into it. It got me for a full 5 minutes. It's the scene where Cyrus and Abby are in the bathroom trying to piece together a device just in time as Camellia is arriving with the second plane. It's actually a good sequence, and it highlights what makes heist movies so nail-biting when done correctly, which is having the plan go wrong and having the characters react and problem solve before getting caught. This 5 minute sequence is the only sequence that is memorable throughout the entire heist set piece. I was also bummed to discover that the heist portion of the film happens so quickly. I want to say the heist set piece is over in like 10 minutes or so. And that's because the heist gets interrupted and then the film pivots into something so boring. The crew gets caught, so they're put on another plane that's going to take them to Jean Reno. Oh, and real quick, when they land in the Alps and they're standing on the runway, my God, was that some of the worst green screen I've seen in a long time. Anyways, the heist gets derailed, the characters get put on another plane, and then there's a big confrontation with Jean Reno. The third act is just awful and lazy. None of it means anything, you don't care about any of it, and it's just not even exciting. I don't know why F. Gary Gray decided to do this movie or the decision to make it feel like a TV cop drama. I can't believe this is the same director who made Straight Outta Compton, The Italian Job, or The Negotiator. There are far better heist movies out there, and I recommend you just seek one of those out because there's nothing new in Lift. I know it's pretty harsh to say that you shouldn't watch a newly released movie on Netflix because, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? You're paying for it. But at the same time, there is so much on Netflix, and I guarantee you that you have a backlog. So I recommend you not watch Lift and tackle something on your backlog. Lift simply isn't worth your time. It's as simple as that.